Hi, how you doing? I was just vibing to that music. It's been a long time since I heard that. I hope you guys are all doing very, very well. Hello and welcome back to Small Screen Live. We are back for we're gonna do this every so often, I suppose. Not every week, but it's really nice to be back. And how are all of you in the chat? I hope you're doing very, very well. Who do we have in the chat at the moment? We have Mr. J. Is that Mr. J as in the Joker? I think you've been watching. You watched the show before, saying "Let's go." How are you doing, Mr. J? I hope you're doing very well. We have Sean's soundtrack saying "Small Screen Live rides again." Yes, we do. We do for a bit. I hope you're doing very well. Sean's soundtracks. Who else do we have in the chat? We have Bobby Anderson. How are you doing? It's been a while, Bobby. Saying hello to Sean. Bobby, you say hello to everybody, I think, don't you? Hi, Bobby. I hope you're doing well. Saying hi to EJ as well. And Jedi Master EJ saying hello there.
Hello there.
I think James is going to have to update that that one there because we've got a new one as well, haven't we?
I was going to, but I ran out of some time. But it wasn't until just now I remember.
Yeah, he comes up at the end of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series and says the infamous line, "Hello there." You know, honestly, we'll talk a little bit about Obi-Wan Kenobi a bit later on when Clint's on the show. And yes, Clint will be here a bit later on. But in this show, Obi-Wan Kenobi, I really heard Ewan McGregor's Scottish accent a lot more. I felt. And Chrysler in the chat saying, "Greetings, screeners. How you doing, Chrysler? I hope you're doing very well." Yes, like and subscribe. Don't forget to like and subscribe, everybody, if you haven't done so yet. Who else do we have in the chat? We have that James guy who is in the chat. He's behind the scenes. He's everywhere, James. Saying, "Hi, Small Screen fam. I've missed you." Yes, James has missed you. Back mainly because James wanted to put us through doing another live show again. Who else do we have in there? Is that everybody in the chat? Have we gone through everybody? I don't think so. I think there are some other people in the chat. We've got Kazakh saying it's Morbin time. Oh, don't bring that in here. It's Morbin time. Yes, maybe they're re-releasing Morbius again.
Cocainum.
We also have another hello there from Mr. MJ. Hello there. Hello there. Who else do we have? We have Charlie Wilson in the chat as well.
Hello, Peter.
Hello there.
Do we have Charlie? We have sup fellas, Charlie Wilson. I hope you're doing well.
Hey Charlie, I meant to message you earlier today. I'll do it this weekend. It's been super crazy. I've been thinking about you.
He's been thinking about you, Charlie. Yes, Sean putting the dancing man emoji. Honestly, watching Thanos dance in that beginning clip is just it takes me back. And Habib says Lex Luthor, just Lex Luthor. Yeah, Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
We have Luke Newcomb movie reviews saying hello, Luke Newcomb. I hope you're doing well. Bobby saying hello to me. Hello, Bobby. I hope you're doing well. I'll be on Animal Crossing soon, I promise. And Kazakh says, yeah. And Chrysler says, bring on the knuckle supper. God, is that coming? Have we still got that one? Probably not.
We got it. Just give me a second.
Really, I never... Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Not the right one, Jay.
Call it, Sanchez, or you'll get a knuckle supper.
There we go. Call it, Sanchez. Right. So what are we going to talk about tonight? We're going to... Well, I suppose we're going to be talking about the fact that we're starting a podcast. So that's going to be happening. That's on July 1st. We've got almost everything recorded. And then I'm going to have to put James through editing everything together. And I do not envy him. And then we're also going to be talking a little bit about Obi-Wan Kenobi. We'll probably talk about everything else as well. Elvis, saw Elvis the other night, and I think I'm pretty sure that Clint has seen it as well, so we might talk a little bit about that. We also didn't really get to talk about like Miss Marvel and Stranger Things and all that good stuff.
The Boys.
I don't even think we got to talk the boy. I haven't watched The Boys yet, but I don't even think we got to talk about Doctor Strange 2. I think we kind of stopped doing the live shows, and then Doctor Strange 2 came out. So there's a lot of stuff that we're going to go over tonight. But one of the main things we wanted to, one of the reasons why we wanted to do this live show was to announce the podcast. So I'd like to announce it with James. Actually, I think James, you got to get yourself on camera, man.
Yeah, I'm very busy. What's going on?
He doesn't want to come on, but there you go. There he is. Yeah. So have we got a name?
Yeah. Was it the weekly screen?
Have you forgotten the name already? I think it was the weekly screen.
It's like the last thing I'm concerned about right now is the name.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I brought you in right before you just started. You lit a cigarette, so there you can really look like Elliot Gould. Yeah. Well, we we're going to be we did ask the listeners for some ideas, and I did. Yeah, someone said there are a lot of things like the Hello There podcast and all that stuff,
which is already taken, by the way.
Yeah, well, we came up with some pretty good names that were already kind of taken, like the small screen pod. I quite liked the SS pod,
the escape pod.
The escape pod was another one we were coming up with. But yeah, it's basically just going to be like you and me talking, and then we're going to have some guests on as well, and Clint will be on there as well. So it'll be good stuff. It'll be good fun.
The weekly screen.
It's just the weekly screen. Yeah, that's what we're going to call it. And it's a different medium. You can listen to it wherever you want, really. If you've got an iPhone or any phone. Not necessarily an iPhone. Others do exist.
You don't even need a phone. You can listen to it on your computer, on your TV.
Yeah, but the whole point is that you can listen to it on the go, which I think is quite nice. It's unless you pay for YouTube, which some people do. It's difficult to listen to these things on the go. And I'm always listening to podcasts on the go. I don't know about you, but I'm a big podcast fan.
No, I don't like podcasts or talking heads. Yeah, I produce the live show.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like podcasts. I hate them, but I'm going to be doing one.
But the cool part about our podcast is we'll be taking out segments from it, and I'll be doing editing towards it. Yeah.
Exactly.
So we'll be putting out videos on the YouTube, cut to footage of what we're talking about. Sean McLaughlin has a segment in our first episode. He talks about the Batman, and I'm currently editing that now, and it's coming out good. So
yeah,
and Reese, no, the other clip has not been added. I kind of dropped the ball on that last night. Ran out of time. We discussed that earlier, but thank you for joining. Dan Zig, thank you for showing up. It's good to see you, man. I almost put on the Warriors last night, and then I remembered we're gonna do watch party, so I completely switched it off.
And we've got a lot. It's a thing that I liked doing before doing the lives. I do love doing the lives as well. So we might do like one every now and again, like maybe one a month. We might try.
It's funny. It takes a lot of planning and a big chunk out of our Friday. And running everything. Like it's just adding on to everything that we do. But I mean, I have been missing it every Friday as well. I haven't missed the sleep, but or the lack of sleep, but I do miss it. So.
Yeah, it's kind of you do. I mean, one of the main things I missed was talking to you, James, and also getting to talk to everyone in the comments in the chat. Because no, I'm not actually. It's funny because you listen to some like one of the things I liked. I was rewatching some of our old shows because I've got nothing better to do, and it's funny just seeing the amount of shows where I'm just sat here going like this and not saying anything, just like. But still find it fun.
Yeah, I do the same. Oh,
yeah. We got Johan Ruttenhauser in the chat.
Hello there.
See, Kaz knows. He knows I try to always get you on a call and stuff. You're like, no, I'm busy. And then you come on here and you say you miss talking to me.
You lie! Well, you tell Kaz that I'm always like, I'm busy.
No, I haven't said that.
No.
I was just making a joke.
You're making a joke. I am often busy, I have to say now. Yeah.
I don't talk to Kaz that much anymore, actually. It's been really busy, and there's really no point having a friendship with someone who's anonymous. But I love him anyways.
Yeah. I got Reese75 saying, call the podcast Jedward. No, we're not. We will not call the podcast Jedward because I'm not sure where you're based, Reese, but there's a really awful band called Jedward, which is John and Edwards together. It's an Irish band, and they're pretty awful. Oh, we miss you too, Bobby. Bobby says, I miss everyone. We miss Bobby a lot, actually. One of the highlights of my week was getting to talk to Bobby on this show.
I told her she should get Dismantle for the Switch if she likes it.
Yes.
You might get it because it is online co-op. So
yeah, I don't know. I think Bobby's quite happy just playing Animal Crossing and living in that world. I kind of envy her. I wish I had the like dedication and
fortitude.
I just can't stay. I lack the focus to be able to do that constantly.
And then like you forget about it for 2 weeks, and then you're like, oh man, I'm gonna spend an hour and a half picking up weeds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's basically it, really. Yeah, that's it. But at some point, what's it got? Call it the Spooncast. Ah, yes, the Spooncast. Hamada Spoon. That takes me back, doesn't it? This come such a long way, haven't we?
I was thinking about that. Yeah, I watched the
Spoon.
first Super Team Megaforce last week, just to see. Well, not the first one, but the one where I had like the 12 guests on. It was pretty nuts.
Hamada Burger. Hamada Burger. Hamada Spoon.
I still love that Hamada Spoon. And funnily enough, like literally, Walter Hamada is the only one left now. He's the one that everyone, like so many people were like, Hamada's going to be fired tomorrow. And then he's still around. He's still there. Oh, dear.
I'm surprised that Toby left, to be honest with you, because he's a Hollywood veteran and he's produced some crazy films. He's got a lot
but he didn't.
He knows where the bodies are buried.
Yes, true. But he didn't leave. He left Warner Brothers to start up his own production company.
That's the story, yeah.
Yeah, well, no, I'm pretty sure that's genuine. Like he's been at Warner Brothers actually for quite some time, so I'm not surprised that he left. I'm kind of surprised he left when he did.
Yeah, I thought he'd be the last one.
I was thinking he'd be there for like maybe a year or two to oversee some of the projects that he wanted to see to fruition. Well, actually, interestingly enough, he is an executive producer on Elvis, the Baz Luhrmann movie. So I think that might be the last film that he'll be, put down as an exec on for Warner Brothers. It's a good one to go out on, I'd say. I'm not sure if he's tied to that as a producer. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe he is. Maybe. And who knows what's happening with the Flash movie, whether they end up releasing that or not. I'm pretty sure we'll talk a little bit about that.
I don't know if he will. Yeah, he's executive producer in Black Adam, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Aquaman, Lost Kingdom, The Flash, Blue Beetle, Zatanna, Supergirl.
Will he remain though? That's the thing. Like the minute these films, and the minute these films end up being released, will his name still be tied to it? I don't know. Podcast should be called James and Friends.
Yeah, you want me to host the Reese? It'll just be a bunch of dead air and me talking in monotone.
I still remember that podcast, that episode that you did where it's like, is it where the hell is Edward or something?
Yeah,
it's just you and like a bunch of people I'd never spoken to before. Peter,
yeah,
I'd spoken to EJ, but there were some people on there that I was like,
yeah, I just left them by themselves and took off. It was
Yeah.
fun times. If you get my sense of humor, you would find it funny.
It was funny. I came in to watch it. I was like, what is going on? We have some other. Do we have some other like? Let's have a look at what's going on in the chat because I've just been not looking at it. He was left holding the spoon. Yeah, exactly. Hamada was left holding the spoon. Dan says, I missed you guys and the chats, but appreciate the time it takes to do this. I'll be here whenever you're ready. I mean, the thing is like we really started pouring a lot of effort into the site. So if you do want to go to Small Screen, which is small-screen.co.uk, please do. And B, the YouTube channel. So there's a lot of stuff on there that a lot of great work that James and Dan have been doing. And it took up a lot of time and a lot of real estate, like mental real estate. And maybe you come to the realization that often like less is more. So there are a lot of channels out there that will literally just do live after live after live. And after a while, how can you fill 2 hours of airtime every night or every day? It kind of ends up becoming, you just talk about the same things over and over again. And there was a little bit of that. I do love the format, so I think that we should keep on doing like a live every now and again, and then the podcast be the thing that we really put our weight behind. But this is very inside baseball right now. I'm not sure.
It's for the small screen fan. Yeah.
Yeah. Who else do we have in the chat? I like to go back into the chat. Dan's it. Yes. So apparently the Flash comes out a year today. So it's actually a year yesterday. So it's 23rd of June. It's going to come out supposedly in 2023. Honestly, I don't think this film's going to come out. I don't see how they can promote the Flash movie and its star be embroiled in all sorts of scandals, basically.
What they need to do is CGI out Ezra Miller with Christopher Plummer, and we're good. Just like they did in a Kevin Spacey movie.
Yeah, they did. And now Kevin Spacey's getting back into films again, somehow.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, even though he's in court in the
Stop
UK.
doing this creepy YouTube video.
Yeah, he does one every year. I think it's like every New Year's he comes out with a new one. They're so weird. They're so odd. But this Ezra Miller thing is like I really like. Imagine if you're trying to promote the film. How can you? First off, if your main star is wanted by the police, it's like how are you gonna deal with that? And then secondly, it's like this will be the main question that they're going to be asked is what on earth was going on, and it's just going to be really tricky. So I really don't see that must be a logistical nightmare at Warner Brothers. Not just logistical, but also it's kind of like it's like what like morally what should Warner Brothers do? Like
they should make a movie on the drama of Ezra Miller. They should Flash and reshoot the scenes, and then just like have a movie called "Let's Talk About Ezra," right? If you coined that joke many times before, and they can make a lot of money off the Ezra Miller story.
Yeah, we need to talk about Ezra.
Really agree. I think it's way past the point of no return right now. I don't think there's no way that they're hoping they'll blow over. To be honest with you, and I've seen comments like Johnny Depp and Amber. Johnny Depp got screwed for less. Or like Fantastic Beasts, right? Yeah, Ezra Miller still attached. I think, WB's not going to have any more Ezra Miller. That's for sure. So,
well, that was the big story, wasn't it? When I think it was Deadline that posted that one of their sources said that Warner Brothers is definitely not going to be working with Ezra after the Flash. Kazakh says the Flash's main issue is Ezra's dashing personality. Is that yeah, I think that's a pun. Yeah, very, very good. And Ezra disappeared into the Speed Force. That's what everybody's been saying. There's this news story that Ezra is housing a family on their Vermont farm. And apparently there are 3 very young kids, and the farm has guns and drugs just lying around, and one of the kids put a bullet in their mouth or something on this farm. And it's like this family that Ezra met in Hawaii, and the mother was like, I'm trying to get away from an abusive ex. And then Ezra's like, oh, you can stay at my place in Vermont, and got them a plane. But the father is still in Hawaii, and the father doesn't know, like, can't contact them. It's really weird. Like, every story around Ezra that's come out is very strange.
So he's got his own creepy farm as well.
Yeah, he does. Sorry, they do. CGI and Amber Heard as the Flash. Yeah, make a put on a British accent. I feel bad for the cast crew who spent all this time on it. That's actually the thing that I feel for, because I actually do think this film could be good. That's the thing about the Flash movie. I think that I like a lot of what I'm hearing about it. I like the fact that you're going to get to see like Michael Keaton back as the Batman and Ben Affleck back as the Batman, and then you're going to get to see all these new versions of all these new characters as well. Sasha Calle as Supergirl, and I feel like it's just such an unfortunate thing because it's such a massive production.
It was delayed so many times. It took so long to get into production too.
I just think this is like the cursed film, isn't it? Because it was delayed so many times, so many different people. It went through so many different people, and then eventually they landed on Andy Muschietti, and they're like, "Great, we got someone that we trust. We got a script down that was apparently quite good." And then they filmed it, and apparently everything went pretty well filming. It was mostly filmed in the UK, big cast and crew, massive film for Warner Brothers, and now this. It's nothing like this has ever happened before. It's so strange, and the stories coming out are so strange and so quite worrying. A lot of them. It's like, where is Ezra?
Do you think WB covered up a lot of stuff that we didn't hear about in the past? Because we saw that video of him like choking that girl out, and we didn't know if it was real or her. Sorry, we saw that video of them choking out that girl, and we don't know if it was real or fake, right? But there's probably other stuff that WB probably covered up.
I'm pretty sure the fact that Ezra's entourage would have been known to Warner Brothers beforehand, and Warner Brothers would have known that there were lots of underage people in Ezra's entourage, which is what I'm hearing now. It's like
really?
So there was Toccata, Iron Eyes, I think that's their name, who is also non-binary, who Ezra met when they were 12 years old, and then kind of invited around with them all over the world, like brought them to London to see the filming of the Fantastic Beasts film. So this has been something that's been happening, and I'm pretty sure Warner Brothers was very aware of this, yet they kind of turned a blind eye to it. And now it's all coming out. I mean, again, it is a bit weird. It's like, why is it all coming out now? Why are the parents only just like the minute they turn 18? Why is this when the parents start to to pursue legal action? The whole thing is a bit strange. The timing of it is it all seems to kind of piled on at once.
Maybe they tried, or they were working towards it, and then when he got arrested in Hawaii, or whatever happened in Hawaii with like the 10 calls of the police, maybe they were like, okay, now we should do something about them. So
yeah, maybe. I mean, I do think a lot of this was Warner Brothers was desperately trying to stop this from getting out. So maybe it was, and maybe it's just like a tidal wave, and it all ends up coming out the same. Question from Dan: what would you do? Recast, refilm, or send it to HBO? You have to wonder how much more Warner Brothers wants to spend on this film. So yeah, those would be like the second time that Warner Brothers would have actually had to pay twice, basically, to make one of these DC movies. First time being Zack Snyder's Justice League. But the problem is,
dump it to HBO Max.
I think that'll be what they end up doing. I think it'll be, because by then HBO Max will be available in more territories as well. And I do wonder whether they'll just decide to just put it out on streaming and just get this movie out and hope that people. I think there was a consensus, like a school of thought inside Warner Brothers at one point where they were like, let's just see and wait if this all blows over. And I think they're still in that phase where they're hoping that people will forget about this. But the problem is it's an ongoing trial. All of it is. So it's going to go on for months, no matter what happens. And this film is supposed to come out next June. I don't think that's enough time. And also think by then some legal action would have been taken against, pretty serious legal action would have been taken against Ezra Miller. Maybe they'll settle outside of court. And
yeah, but if they dump it right to HBO Max, like, doesn't that open them up for breach of contracts for some of the actors?
Possibly,
maybe the director.
Yes, undoubtedly so.
Being pissed off, but I can also see Michael Keaton like not wanting that film to be released if like Ezra's name is tainted.
But also, Michael Keaton's also going to be in the Batgirl film, which is coming to cinemas now. So they're not releasing that just on HBO Max.
They may.
I don't think they'll
replace.
No, I think. What the entire film, the Flash film.
Reshoot the Ezra scenes, I think.
I don't think you can do that because Ezra's playing multiple characters in the movie. So there's not just one version of Ezra's Flash. There's like multiple versions. So that'll be virtually impossible, I think. It'll be way too expensive. They basically just have to refilm the whole film. And at this point they can't afford that. So it's a conundrum, and it's one that I do not envy Warner Brothers for, because I mean at this moment in time it doesn't look like this is I think they might have known something about this, but I don't think they knew to the extent it's turned out to be. And also all the Hawaii stuff, I don't think they could have really known what was going on with Miller. But there's definitely something going on with with them, and there's definitely something not quite right with Miller. So one of the first things is they have to do is find the guy. It's like, where on earth is Ezra Miller? And the overall joke is that Miller's lost in the Time Force, in the Speed Force.
Well, I hope everyone is okay at the end of this, and he's okay, and Ezra is okay. This is
a grammatical nightmare.
Yeah, it's just I try and remind myself, but I hope everyone's okay at the end of this, and Miller gets some help if there's some mental issues there or something.
Yeah, Dan brings up a good point actually. Yeah, says the delay of the Flash creates a bottleneck for other releases, which is true. But then there's the other comment that Dan put saying,
"Well, I like Sean's too, actually, though.
Yeah,
maybe Warner Brothers should release it ASAP."
Right. Yeah, but I mean, releasing it now would be the wrong thing to do because I think it's too early.
It's all over.
And Warner Brothers may find it cheaper to pay cast any compensation, and then I think that'd be true. It would be cheaper for Warner Brothers just to pay the cast and crew compensation and just dump it on HBO, and then take a loss on this movie. But also, oddly enough, I think if they released it in cinemas, I think it'd do really well because I think morbid curiosity, people will want to see this film, and I think it might end up doing really well. That's the double-edged sword here. I think they could be onto a real winner. It could be like $1 billion plus movie. Because honestly, I think I have a sneaky suspicion that it's really good. And I mean, it's had so much time to be made. Like, how can it be bad? Although the same could be said about Morbius.
I was just gonna say,
yeah. So Dan says, I know he's accused. Okay. Michael Keaton, the breakout star of Morbius. Oh dear. You watched that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did watch Morbius. Spooky and I watched it. She liked it because vampires and Jared Leto. But
yeah, but it's not even vampires.
No, I
they're not
know, but she's
they're
a
not
fan
good
of.
vampires.
Yeah. No, she had a good time watching it. Me, I was like laughing through. I didn't tell her how. Like, I was like, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm not going to tell you how I feel, or I'm going to break it down to you. I don't want to kill the buzz, but yeah, I laughed a lot through it because I kept remembering our conversation on here before I had watched it, and yeah, the counterfeiting ring all of a sudden, and then he's got a lab, and what a plot device.
True, incredible writing. It should be up for an Oscar. I'm going to be honest, just for that scene.
Morbius
Loved
sweets.
It. Release it as scheduled 2 years from now. No one will care. So it's actually meant to be a year from now. If it was 2 years from now, I think people just lose interest in this, and then eventually just no one will see it. I think their only real option at the moment is to keep the release date. I think you're right. Actually, I think bringing it forward might be the cleverer move, because if anything, like, just don't do any press for the film, basically, or you just have like Michael Keaton go around and promote it, and just forget Ezra Miller, which is actually, yeah, which is probably what might happen. You know, it's very probable that might end up being what they do, and they just like, we'll just put Michael Keaton out there, and maybe get Sasha Calle to go around with him, and that'd be it, and that'd be enough.
They could dump it in like early September in theaters.
Yeah,
but they were hoping for $1 billion for this film.
Well, that was always the plan. Yeah, that was this movie. I mean, again, there are a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people saying they should recast Ezra Miller with Grant Gustin. I personally don't think that's the right thing to do, because I think Grant Gustin, I like him a lot. I think he's great in the series, but I think it's a very different version of the character, and I'm not sure if Grant Gustin would want to do that. And I think that would be quite weird, seeing Grant Gustin play Barry Allen, but not the way we're used to seeing him play him. Just because the tones of the DC universe and the CW universe are very different. And I don't think they'd match very well, to be honest. Yeah.
I think if Grant Gustin was going to play Flash in a feature film, it'd be like his own movie, you know, not just coming in to reshoot Ezra's. So,
sorry. The plot of this movie directly affects Batgirl and Aquaman. True. That's another conundrum. Where did Keaton come from if this doesn't get released? Yeah, that's a very good point. Which is why I think this film's going to get released no matter what. I just don't think that. I think one of the things that would allow them to
title crawl. They'll do a title crawl at the beginning of Batgirl. There you go.
A really long one.
A long title crawl. Yeah.
More than 3 paragraphs.
Yeah, like at the beginning of The Running Man.
Yeah, but it is a it's a really good point that you make, Chrysler, because it is a conundrum that they're going to have to solve if they don't release the movie, which is why I'm thinking that they have no other choice but to release the film. The thing with Miller is that these are allegations at the moment. So the main allegation laid against him is of grooming, which is terrible. And to be honest, I think it's rather difficult to say that it's not the case if you look into what's being said and what we know to be true. The thing is that you've got, I think their name is Takata, making public statements saying that no, this is untrue. You know, so it's a really difficult situation. And I'm not so sure whether it will be pursued in court.
It all depends. Like, will we find out the public statements? Were they coerced, or were they under duress, or they were genuine?
Yeah,
like this is all just stuff we're getting off of social media, right?
Yeah, but what there is a pattern here, and the pattern is that Miller does the same thing to a lot of people, where Miller takes credit cards, keys, IDs, passports from these people, takes them. So these people have no like actual identification or means of escape almost. So Ezra Miller did that to the couple that filed a restraining order against them in Hawaii, and did the same thing to allegedly did the same thing to Carter.
Well, Ezra, if you're listening right now and you want to come on and talk, DM us on Twitter or just message here in chat, and we'll send you a link.
Yeah. So, what's this?
Is that a song from Morbius, Kaz?
I can't remember that. Reese says Morbius is better than I expected. I thought it would be awful, but it wasn't too bad. I thought it was pretty awful watching it, but I understand. I felt more that way about Uncharted. I watched the Uncharted movie not too long ago, and I was like, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't great, but it was a bit meh. But I thought there were elements of Morbius that I found just really, really, really bad.
It was just
boring.
Like
I think it was boring.
A bland film.
Very bland, yeah.
Like even
and then when you read
sequence, wasn't even. They weren't even good.
But it literally did look like they'd done it in about 5 minutes. And when you read those stories of like Jared Leto staying in character and taking ages to go to the bathroom because he had to go with the crutches, it's like
that's hilarious.
I always think of Robert Pattinson when they asked him about method actors, and he just said, he just was like, method actors are all twats. That's like he put it so well. Oh dear. I think as Priscilla says,
Sony tried to cash in on all the memes by re-releasing it that weekend,
but they just completely misunderstood.
Yeah,
because they genuinely thought that like all this, like the hashtags were good. They couldn't see the joke.
Even the Jared Leto
hilarious
video of him reading the script, it's Morbin time. Morbius 2, it's Morbin time. That was like very embarrassing and awkward to watch. Like it's just, you can smell executives all over it. And it was that dancing scene with Matt Smith, that song Kaz was talking about. That was pretty embarrassing to watch too. See, I'm trying not to use the word cringe. I don't know.
It is cringe.
But I don't know. Facebook today, someone wrote like, Teddy just pilled, and then someone said like based, and I was like, pilled, based. Yeah, I'm old. I don't know what that means.
I've never even heard of it.
Yeah, it's new kid slang, I think.
Yeah,
that's a good point. I felt they cut out a lot too. Like it was missing some.
Yeah, and I think the director kind of alluded to that as well. Was like this film is a product of Sony, really, more than him.
So he didn't draw strength, tweet it like.
No, he was
Fantastic Four movie would have been released if you saw my cut, but thanks to Fox, you won't.
To be honest, though, I don't think Josh Trank's cut would have been any better. It's like hearing what he was up to on set. Yeah, the moral of this story is never go full Sony, and I really get the feeling that these Spider-Man adjacent films are just like examples of that. It's like what happens when you go full Sony. So yeah, after Venom 2 and Morbius, how are you feeling about Craven and Madam Web? Craven,
I wasn't. Yeah, dude, I was. Yes, I haven't watched Venom because there's like no interest in me to watch Venom or Venom 2. I mean, maybe Venom 2 because it looks like it's a lot of cheesy fun, but the Sony superhero movies just they never really did it for me except the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man ones. That's it.
I like the new Spider-Man films.
Release any other Morbius cut. But yeah, sorry. I cut you off there. Go ahead.
No, well, I think that Venom 2 and Morbius were atrocious, both of them. I think Craven the Hunter is going to be bad. I think Madam Web is interesting because Kevin Feige is producing it.
Yeah,
which is weird. which I was like, he's not been attached to any of the other Sony Spider-Man adjacent films, but for some reason he's attached to Madam Web.
Yeah, but
it's interesting.
And I'm kind of worried about the Feige too, to be honest with you, which we talk about on the podcast. But yes,
Yeah,
I'm
but
a
say
bit
what you
worried
will
about
about
Feige.
Feige.
What's that?
Yeah, but say what you will about him, but his films are always enjoyable. Like I would never say that they're super. They're not like Sony levels of dull.
It's true.
You know,
I mean,
like
Thor:
at
the
least
Second Thor kind of came close.
yeah, but they were like still in their kind of teething phase with that film, I think. And there was a lot of problems with that film. Like they had to get rid of the director pretty early on. Actually, no, they got rid of the director only a few weeks before shooting.
Yeah, that was Alan. What's his name? He directed a lot of the Lost episodes. Yeah.
Well, Alan something. Sorry. Tired. Been a long day. Yeah, but like I just think these Sony Spider-Man films are pretty crap. Morbius is based, bro. So what does that mean?
I don't know.
I don't know. You guys are too young for me. Forget about Morbius. I can't wait for Animal Lover Craven. Yeah, okay, here we go. This is related to a story.
I want to see DC do Animal Man with Buddy. I think that would be great.
Animal Man. I want to see Man Bat.
Man Bat. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, if they do it right, because it can be quite boring. Like
Yeah.
But if they do it right, like kind of like a little bit more film noir, it would be good. Kind of like the Batman the Animated Series. Yeah.
Is there Man Spider?
Yep, there is actually.
Oh god. Some actors nail method acting. Ray Winston's staying in character as a Russian for the past 40 years. Bravo.
Bless you, Danzig. Bless you.
That was brilliant. and Reese, it's not Alan Titchmarsh. He didn't direct. Thor: The Dark World. It's Alan something. I can't remember his name. But wasn't it originally going to be what's the Wonder Woman director? Wasn't it that was going to do Thor 2?
Alan Taylor. That's who directed.
Alan Taylor, but it was originally going to be Patty Jenkins.
Was it?
That was the story. So Patty Jenkins was hired to direct Thor 2 and then ended up leaving the project. Yeah.
I think the only thing I remember out of Thor the Second Thor was the portal sequence where the hammer keeps trying to find Thor. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I don't remember anything of that film apart from the fact that I think Christopher Eccleston played the villain, right? That was all I can remember. And there was some deal with red fluid or something that almost killed Jane.
And then they mentioned it again in Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
With Big Thor. Can we just take a moment to just... Aren't these amazing shots of Nicolas Cage?
What is this from? Is this a GQ thing?
Like a GQ, yeah. I came across it today. I was like, oh man, these are badass. Imagine him in a Blade movie with Wesley Snipes dressed like that. That'd be great. Or he joined the Matrix.
Do you reckon that's ever going to happen?
The Matrix Resurrections, I think it would have been a better film. Although I really do like a Mindhunter actor, but
Mindhunter actor. Yeah, I still need to watch the Nicolas Cage film that came out this year.
Yeah, me too.
I've forgotten the name. The Massive Weight of Unbearable Talent. The Unbearable Weight of Massive. There we go. Teddy MV agrees with me. Yeah, I've got it on my laptop. Man Bat would be amazing, but I think it's far too into the supernatural. Yeah, a reality-based Mr. Freeze could actually be incredible. That'd be good. I think you're right. Man Bat is a bit too supernatural, which is a shame. I really want to see something. I'm just desperate to see like a really wacky supernatural, genuinely supernatural comic book movie, not Doctor Strange 2 supernatural, but something that's like dark, dingy, almost like Constantine-esque, something like has that kind of Neil Gaiman vibe about it as well. I'd really like to see, like, I'm excited to see the Sandman series, but I think it's going to be watered down so much by Netflix. But
I don't know. The supernatural elements in like comic books never really vibed with me. Like Legend of Tomorrow was really good, and then they brought in Constantine, and kind of, to me, that was like, it's not the right vibe for the show. I like him as a character. I like the comic books, but yeah, I don't know. To each their own, though. The Doctor Strange stuff was really good up and down Endgame, but then Doctor Strange 2 came out, and we did talk about it actually on the last show or the show before that.
Yeah.
The 1950s B movie where he's got to fight a giant.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
what
yeah.
it reminded me of. So, yeah, and Pig was premium Nick Cage, big time. I love that movie.
He's having a resurgence.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't he? He's having it.
Yeah, he was paid all his back taxes so he can do what he really wants to do now. So
he was in a really, really good film a couple years back. What was it? Was it Joe? Was it called Joe?
Mm-hmm.
Which was really, really good. Yeah, it was in 2013. That with Ty Sheridan. That's honestly such a good movie. I really enjoyed that. If you ever get a chance to watch that, I think that's Nicolas Cage at his acting best, because he's not like really over the top, like he is in a lot of movies. He's just playing. He's playing like an actual human being, which is not. You can't say that often about Nicolas Cage. And then of course there's Mandy, which is insane.
I still haven't seen that either.
It's good, but it's a weird one.
You saw Pig though, right?
I haven't seen Pig. No, not yet.
I need to. It's brilliant, and he's not over the top at all.
My concern for Sandman is it will appeal to the wider audience. Netflix want viewership. Oh yeah, Netflix wants viewership. Judging by some shows like Cowboy Bebop, they don't hang around before canceling them. Yeah, but Cowboy Bebop was genuinely terrible. Like that series was awful. But I don't know. This Sandman series, I think they're doing. I mean, the fact that Neil Gaiman is so attached to it, like he's a producer on the show, and I really like the casting. I really like the lead. I'm blanking on his name now, but I think he's really good. And I like the fact they got Gwendolyn Christie in as Lucifer. I think that's such good casting, and that I like the look of it. And this recent season of Stranger Things has me thinking that Netflix is now really starting to realize that it needs to step its game up. And I really do think that Sandman is going to impress a lot of people. At least this is what I'm hoping will happen, because I love the comics so much.
We said the same thing about Jupiter's Legacy, though, too.
I never said that because I'm not a Mark Millar or Mark Miller fan, really. Like, apart from Red Sun, I haven't really liked anything else he's done.
His stuff is really hard to go back and read after a few years. Like you can read it.
It comes off as very childish.
Yeah, well, it's aimed for like 14-year-old kids, right? So
yeah, it's like really, really childish. A lot of it's like I reread it. Kingsman is actually one. Kingsman is one of his better comics, actually. I think, and I think the first film is really good. I think the others have been awful. The second film I thought was really bad. The third film was
second one.
I did actually like the King's Man.
At the end, right?
Yeah, it had the woman with the knife cutting legs.
I liked the second one.
Yeah.
It was fun. Yeah.
I didn't like it.
Cheesy,
it was
but fun.
Yeah, and we all know that Clint loves Jupiter's Legacy. Can't believe we made him watch that whole show. Yeah, I haven't seen Willy's Wonderland, actually. That's a Nick Cage film that apparently isn't great, but it came out, I think it was last year or like maybe early this year. I didn't get to see it.
No, I had no interest in watching a Five Nights at Freddy's. Except
it's basically that.
So,
yeah.
But Stranger Things. Speaking of
Stranger Things,
enjoying it.
Have you watched it yet or not?
Oh yeah, I watched it.
Yeah. I thought season 4 was so good. I've watched it twice.
A couple episodes to get into it. I was like, are we? Because I don't really remember much from season 2 or 3. So, yeah.
I mean, I didn't really remember much from season 3 because it's been so long actually since season 3 was released.
Yeah.
And then watching season 4, I was really like, whoa! Like for me, the end of the first episode had me hooked. I loved the Friday the 13th vibe. Friday 13th, yeah. No, sorry, Freddy. The Nightmare on Elm Street vibes.
I'm glad that they cast him too.
Yeah,
that was brilliant. Robert Englund.
But yeah, apparently originally he auditioned for another role for, I think it was one of the earlier seasons, and then they imagine saying no to Robert Englund. But then eventually they were like, no, we have this idea. We want you to come back for this role. And I really like that. I think Jamie Campbell Bower, I think that's his name, Jamie Campbell Bower, is terrific. I think the kids are just too good. When I'm watching, I'm always like, these kids are just too good at acting. Like Sadie Sink in this series, so she plays Max, is just terrific. I think the episode for me where I was like, wow, was the dear, what's her brother called again? It's the one where she writes the letters and stuff.
Yeah.
Is that's the episode, that one of the episodes that's directed by Sean Levy. And I really, really think that episode in particular was like something else for me. And I've watched it twice now. I watched it once because what I tend to do with these shows that might be a bit scary, I watch them beforehand. And then if I'm like, Alessia, my wife, if she can, I'm like, can she deal with it? Because she doesn't like scary stuff. So I actually watched it the first time around, and I was like, I'm not sure, because there are some pretty gruesome scenes in this season, like with what Vecna does with the bodies and stuff. And Vecna's pretty terrifying. And there are so many, Nightmare on Elm Street vibes and Hellraiser vibes about this series as well. Now you got Hellraiser coming into it, and was like, I'm not so sure. But then you kind of realize that it's kind of visually freaky, but you still want to watch it because of the kids and because of the mystery and the intrigue, and that's still all there. Like the Goonies vibe is still there, which I love about this show. And I think that I know a lot of people like to kind of trash Stranger Things and being like, oh, it's just member berries, just like a lot of reference points. But I don't care, because I like
really good storytelling, and
I think
it's directed well, and who's really good in season 4 right now is Tristan Spone. Yeah, he's really good. Yeah, and if we interviewed him last weekend or this week,
we did.
If you want to go check it out after this live stream. It was a great interview. We got some more interviews coming up too next week.
We do.
Who'd we just interview, Edward?
We interviewed Peter Macon.
Yep. Portist from the Orville.
Yeah. We interviewed Cullen Moss from The Staircase and Outer Banks, and Iron Man 3.
And True Detective.
And True Detective. We forgot about True Detective. Yeah. Well, that's all coming up, I'm pretty sure, relatively soon. James can.
Yep.
I mean, we spoke to Peter for a long time, or Peter spoke to us for a long time.
It was a great conversation. That dude is completely humble and down to earth, and he knows his craft well too. Yeah.
Ooh, question from Chrysler that I quite like. How was Nick Cage in the Jiu-Jitsu movie? Commercials look terrible. I'm probably the only person that watched this film. I watched the Jiu-Jitsu movie on Netflix.
What movie?
It's called Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see it. I haven't seen it yet.
It is awful. It is so bad. Oh. It's terrible. It's hilarious, but terrible. Dear Billy, that was the name of the and again, if anything makes people listen to Kate Bush, I love that. Funnily enough, a couple of years ago, back when I was working in London, there was a time when I was listening to running up that hill over and over and over again. I really got into Kate Bush. I don't know why. I just like that year. I think it was like 2017. And I remember tweeting, I just watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And I tweeted at James Gunn being like, you have to use Kate Bush running up that hill in mixtape for Volume 3. That will never happen now. But funnily enough, apparently Christian Bale, of all people, revealed that they were going to do a dance number in Thor: Love and Thunder with Gore that involved a Kate Bush song. Now, I think it would be hilarious if they did Wuthering Heights and have Gore the God Butcher do all that crazy Kate Bush dancing. If you've ever watched the Kate Bush video of Wuthering Heights, you'll know what I'm talking about. But apparently they cut it because Taika Waititi was just like, we're never going to get this past anybody at Marvel. It's such a shame. It could have been. I mean, Kate Bush has been doing really well now. She's literally, I think she's earning $1 million a week because she has 100% ownership of that song. Yeah, she's a very smart woman. And I loved it. I loved it so much. I love the fact. I actually love all the music that's used in Stranger Things. I think
I was around when she was releasing music.
So you remember Kate Bush, like when she was actually active. Now she's kind of hiding away, and no one knows much about Kate Bush. She's a bit of an enigma.
Eric Robin, thank you for joining. Eric Robin commented on a couple of our videos this past week, and The Boys is getting really good. I'm glad we got to see Love Sausage. Not going to go into too many spoilers for you, Edward, but I'm glad we got to see Love Sausage in the last episode. Because we didn't get to see him when they went to Russia, which I was expecting. And I'm not sure if I'm sold on how they handled the legend, because I was a big part in the comic books. But I like who they got, which I won't tell you, Edward, to play the legend. But you need to catch up on that. And
I really do. I'm so far behind.
We are close to 4K subs. So if you could like, subscribe, and quack that notification bell, we would love you forever.
Yeah, we will love you forever. And I love the idea of seeing Christian Bale transform into Kate Bush. Someone said that. Teddy Envy, for his next body transformation, Christian Bale will become Kate Bush. That'd be brilliant. I think we've missed out on that. I'm pretty sure that's what would have happened in Thor: Love and Thunder. Like some sort of weird sequence where you have... I can bet you it was Wuthering Heights, the song they wanted to use. Because it would just fit like an action like scene with the sword, especially with the movements. It could really match that song really well. Anyway, I'm maybe Babushka. Maybe it was something to the Babushka. Oh god, that would have been fun as well.
Oh, is this where I'm supposed to say what is all this about? And he says, "Shut up! I asked the question." Yeah.
Chill, Winston.
I want to watch that film again. Actually, I have a real hankering for watching it. No. The Long Goodbye. I love that film. Honestly, I was really surprised by how much I liked it because you constantly asking me to watch it, telling me that I needed to watch it. Finally got down to watching it, and it's just like, wow, so good.
Anyone in the chat watch The Long Goodbye since I've been promoting it heavily?
You really have.
1973 film, but
that's the ultimate. That's our ultimate goal, is to get to interview Elliot Gould. So, that would be. Well, he's still around, right, Elliot Gould?
I believe so. Yeah. I would love to interview him. He's there's another film he did around that time. It's called it's about two gamblers, and I started watching it. The same kind of vibe, where like, see those films back then, like you have people talking over each other, and it's so natural, and they're really just into the characters, that's what I like. But yeah, I want to know, what if Average End was any good?
I think that's Avengers Endgame. Average.
Yeah,
I don't know what Average End would be.
Go watch it, Danzig. Definitely go watch it. It's on Amazon Prime now. Actually, it's funny enough. It's like I found it, I watched it, I had to order it, and then
I paid
then
for
all of a sudden it was on streaming like a month later after I heavily promoted it on here. So I must be watching.
I really do. I'm so far behind. 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 I really do
I'm not sure if Clint is too wiped or not, but we should move on to Obi-Wan. Just give me
Yes.
1 second to get some water. Start
Yeah.
with your initial thoughts.
Yeah, well, James and I think we are on different ends of the spectrum when it comes to Obi-Wan Kenobi. I really, really like this show. I can understand why people thought it was a bit boring. I think there were scenes, especially in the earlier episodes, that maybe took a bit of time to get going. But ultimately, I think it all hinged on that finale and whether they really stuck the landing. And after watching it once and then watching it twice, I was like, yes, they stuck the landing. I think a lot of this go on.
That doesn't excuse all like it being boring and all like.
It's all about the build-up, James.
No, but that's the problem. It's like, go on. I'm not ready. Clint's coming in, and then, and then that's where I'll have to really. I don't think I have the energy to fully defend myself against Clint's energy, but I'll do my best.
I mean, I really liked it. I thought the finale and the final showdown between Obi-Wan and Darth, it's funny called him Darth, was great. So good.
Really, you liked the shaky cam lightsaber fight?
No, I did talk to you about this before. Like that'll be on the podcast, I suppose. But there is that I did have a problem with the way the whole show was shot. I thought it was there is weird shaky cam at points, like when it's looking down and it's like I did notice that it's like shaking for no reason.
The above shot of like them
the above
fighting
shot when it goes down like that.
Every shot in that sequence. Hey Clint.
Hey.
Every shot in that
Clint.
sequence was shaky cam, and I was like, am I wrong in thinking that I've never seen a lightsaber duel in shaky cam before? And to me, that just means you're not confident. And I think Deborah Chow is a great director. But I think shaky cam sometimes in action scenes and stuff is you're not too confident in directing that kind of that scene, you know? And Krizla, what Ed is calling a build-up, we could call Warrior's Journey. It's useful. Yeah, but you know what, man? They didn't even pay off the Warrior's Journey. And this is a problem I had with what was the other show that was Boba Fett, where like they're trying to do that Unforgiven vibe and build it up so when he does come back and does turn into his old self, it's that, oh yeah, we've been waiting for this, and we stand up in our seats, but there was never that payoff in Boba Fett, and there was never that payoff in Obi-Wan for me. It just seemed like the problem is, and we talked about this, but I'll get into it briefly in the podcast. And I'm sorry, Clint, you're not going to like this, but I don't like to trash people like the crew and the cast and the writers and all that stuff that worked so hard on the series. But it's just because Disney Plus has a quota for content now, they took what could have been an awesome Obi-Wan movie and turned it into 6 episodes where it seems stretched out, right? And thank God for the visual effects designers who did the virtual backgrounds of like Darth Vader sitting on his throne and Mustafar and the space scenes, even though the movement of the spaceship seemed kind of wonky to me in that last episode. But the rebel stuff and the rebel base and all that stuff seemed very cheap to me. You know, it just seemed like kind of like a mid-budget sci-fi show. But the pacing was, it's just like Hawkeye. Do we have to wait? Why are we waiting 3 episodes for it to get good? Why are we waiting Boba Fett? Why are we waiting 3 or 4 episodes to get to the meat of it? And now with Obi-Wan, we're doing the same kind of thing where they go on this little excursion for the first 2-3 episodes that is not really relevant to the plot. It builds up a little bit of the character, but the characters could have been built up more. They were built up more in like the episode 3, 4, 5. You know, that's what I'm thinking. That's a little gist of how I feel, but I'm curious what Clint's going to say now. And please don't dehumanize my points by joking about it.
Oh, I'm gonna joke. That's what I do. But you're not gonna get me to. I wouldn't show up if I would. Which better late than never. But again, thanks for having me on. It's good to be back, guys. I'm back.
Hold on, Clint.
Yes, I live for the applause. All right, get it together, Clint. Man, this I liked and didn't like some things about Obi-Wan. But I'm grateful we got it. And I gotta say, this is what happens when you mix what is a television show with a movie, and you've got characters that are crossing over. Now they're making series that are intertwined with movies, and I think budgets and expectations are overlapping, and I think it causes problems, honestly. We've seen it with Marvel, now we're seeing it with Star Wars. When you see a movie and it's a cinematic masterpiece, it looks amazing, everything looks fantastic, and then you do something and you're doing it on a smaller scale on a volume stage. Now they've really taken great strides and done some amazing stuff with the volume technology. And I think it's kind of embarrassing that The Mandalorian looks so much better than these other shows. Like, what the hell's going on there? Like, I don't get that. But I'll say it's really amazing that they figured out how to make these shows. They can make them 3 or 4 times faster than they used to make shows. So they're cranking these things out. They're costing less money, and they're spending less money, and they're able to cheat. But you cheat a little too much. Like, humans like to take things too far. I think they're cheating because they're like, holy crap, we're making this look real and not spending any money. And I think they're faking everything, and they've gone too far to where there's some scenes like the fire Darth Vader scene, like the fights, and I'm like, that looks jank. You know what I mean? It looks jank. I loved it. Like, I had a good time. But it looks jank. I'm lucky. I like to look at shiny things and I get entertained, and so I'm going to say I really enjoyed this series. As far as my perspective, I enjoyed the series. There's some little things I could complain about, but I had to tell myself this wasn't a movie. This was a TV show. And yes, I think it would be actually I'm thinking about doing it, downloading all the episodes if I had the time, and editing all of them down into a 2.5 hour movie. I think would be a really cool project if somebody would do that and make a really concise movie. Do
you think it would help it though? Like, because all the points you just said, like, us humans take it too far,
right?
Does that apply to the writing and the pacing?
Well, the pacing and the writing is going to be different for a weekly consumed piece of content. You could have called it content, Clint. When you're doing something, you got to you have a different story arc. You have little story arcs to take people to cliffhangers for every week because they're digesting this different. So this is a different kind of a meal. This isn't a Thanksgiving that you have all at one time. This is sushi where you're getting multiple courses
there's so many series that does it better.
That's true. But these other series, do they have 40 years of canon to dance around? Do they have the pissed off fans that are judging every single thing that they're like, hey, that's not right. How can they fight? He said last time he was the Padawan and he was the master. How are they going to have this thing? Well, they had to dance around that and create a scenario to where they have a flashback where he takes a lightsaber out of his hand and says, see, you're being too impulsive and you thought you won, but I took the lightsaber. And then redo that with the ship. He pulls the ship down and rips it open, and then he's like, haha, I got the lightsaber, and flies away. I thought it was cheesy that that he couldn't stop the second ship. Why didn't he just go whah and pull that one down? But they needed to make that point, to make it make sense. The next time they meet, he's like, okay, I was still a Padawan. And he realizes it. Oh, he pulled the lightsaber out of my hand again by getting away. And I'm still the Padawan, but little later, when I meet him in 10 years, I'll be the master by then. They have all these barriers because of canon and all of these different things already set up, and they have to just cram these square shapes into these round holes. And I think they're doing a good job sometimes. And so even me, I'm like, I don't know about that right there. I'm going to pretend I didn't see that because I liked the ending. You know what I mean?
But that's not the qualms I have with it, though.
What's your qualms?
Not about, like, I don't have the qualms about the continuity. I'm not an angry Star Wars fan. I love that we get Star Wars content. I like The Last Jedi. A lot of people don't like The Last Jedi.
I love The Last
Jedi.
I
was talking to Barry LeChance from Stay Lister Productions. He always messages me when, like, he's done these shows, like, what do you think? Here's my theory and stuff. But he's really mad that young Leia was in there, and because of the message from Star Wars: A New Hope, where she's like, you worked with my father in the Clone Wars, and I'm like, well, maybe it was she had to be diplomatic, and it's like, but why wouldn't she say something like, you rescued me when I was 10 and blah 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 and all that stuff? That stuff doesn't bother me. It seems like Lucasfilm, it's a TV show, it's a different format, but they have so many great writers at their disposal and great directors at their disposal and crew members and assistant directors that we shouldn't have to wait for a show to get good after 4 episodes, and same with Marvel these days. And I think a lot of it is that they have to be pushed to streaming, and then they're revamped. Maybe that's where the disconnect is. But I think they're at the stage now, production wise and pre-production wise, that they should their game should be better. I mean, there's no way we should have got the Vespa gang in the Book of Boba Fett and the spinny thing and maybe like a half naked Tamara Morrison wrestling the Wookiee. But and I know, and then this is not I'm an older guy and I'm not the demographic anymore. I can accept that, and I can accept Star Wars is made for kids and to sell toys, just like movies are. But at the same time, I think if they're going to tout this as a limited special series, and they're going to hype it up with their incredible marketing because they want to make a lot of money, they should at least put in what they're trying to put in technically with the volume, with the soundstage, with the writing and the directing, and keep that quality up. That's the. I don't think it's fair to the audience that we have to wait 4 episodes for a series to get good, especially when we've waited for so long. And I will try and take those 6 episodes and make a 2-hour movie for you. I'll cut out all the long shots of Obi-Wan looking forlorn and staring off into the middle distance, because I was thinking about doing a supercut of that, because there's a lot of footage of him doing that.
I was happy with every episode. I mean, like every episode, I enjoyed some part of. If it had a little thing that let me down, like I still enjoyed every episode, and I didn't notice shaky cam either. During that fight, that was one of my favorite lightsaber scenes I've ever seen in any Star Wars. It was awesome. Like, I was like, cool, finally you're getting to see Obi-Wan do some badass stuff. You always hear how he's awesome, but besides chopping Darth Maul in half, you never see any of that. So it's cool, just like the end of Rogue One, when you get to finally see Vader terrorizing people. We finally got to see that. I was not watching, trying to pay attention to what kind of lens they used for the shot, maybe how they had the lighting set up. I was so.
That's not what I was watching.
I'm just saying, shaky cam, didn't even notice. I was so excited about Obi-Wan kicking ass that I had a great time. But I didn't mean to cut off Edward. You looked like you were about to say something. And I didn't
real
mean
quick.
To interrupt
The shaky cam took me right out of the moment, because all of a sudden it was like, boom, they're fighting, shaky cam. That's all. But go on, Edward.
The shaky cam always takes me out of a moment, but even I did notice the shaky cam in that particular scene. But even with that, I still really enjoyed it, and I was thinking this is one of the most the most accomplished lightsaber battles I'd seen in a long time in a Star Wars anything. And I know you don't agree, but
I laughed when Darth Vader. Sorry, but I laughed when Darth Vader started chucking rocks down at Obi-Wan to. I was just laughing. I'm sorry. That was too funny.
Yeah,
Duel of the Fates, I mean, one of the best lightsaber battles of all time.
Which one?
Duel of the Fates from the Phantom Menace with the Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and Darth Maul.
There's a lot of sitting down and waiting for stuff to happen, though. In that
the build up and then the
I know.
it was good.
But for me, the moment that really I felt wow was when Obi-Wan splits the helmet, and you actually see Hayden Christensen behind, and you see his face, and to me, I was that was what I was waiting for. I was like, why did they bring him back for this? Because they could have easily just got a body double, because he doesn't even do the voice. And then there's that when you hear the way they did the voice as well, with the way it was split between Hayden's voice and James Earl Jones's voice. I was like,
great.
That honestly, that scene alone, I was like, oh my god, like this is so good. And you just see, you understand Vader on a whole other level. And I think this, for me, this show wasn't about Kenobi. It was about Vader. Every scene that I enjoyed the most was a Vader scene. The scene with Reva when she can't actually touch him because he's doing his Force. You know, he's just playing with her. He's just toying with her. And I was like, that was an insane moment. I do know why he couldn't take the other ship. And I made this joke before. I think it's going to be in the podcast twice, but it's because Vader's Force bar was low, so he couldn't get the other one. But that the first time I watched that scene, I was a bit like, wait, what's going on? Because it literally I was like, I didn't see the other ship there, and it's quite funny because it's just like, bye, and it just goes so quickly off in the distance, and I was a bit like, I did chuckle a bit. But I think one of the main problems, and I think both of you are right on some levels, I think one of the big problems I have with the show is, and with all these Star Wars shows, is the episodes are too short. I literally, the minute I get into it, I feel like it's over already. I think these Star Wars shows and Marvel shows have the same problem, is that they're too short and it's really difficult to get into them, which is why it feels to me more like it's a movie, like it's meant to all be watched at once. And you can even tell that in the way the story develops. Like, it's not the way it's structured, the series, any of these shows, they're not structured like normal TV shows. Like we were talking about Stranger Things before, and each Stranger Things episode to me stands on its own season 4, whereas you cannot say the same thing about any of these Star Wars and Marvel shows. They have brilliant moments in them, really, really good moments in them. Some incredible work goes into these shows. The only one which does have that kind of individualistic episode thing that works each episode is The Mandalorian. And I think that's why The Mandalorian is better than the others. It's because it's conceived primarily as a TV show, whereas all these other things that they're making weren't conceived as TV shows. They were actually, I think, thought up originally as movies, and they were worked on as if they were films. And I think the two mediums are actually quite different. And I think
maybe like Ms. Marvel was a television show, but like that's why it's so good right now, because it's constructed as that. To go back to the Darth Vader cut on the helmet, I kind of laughed because like that's the way to show his face, but also reminded me of Batman v Superman. And it's like you know, Ben Affleck's helmet got crushed and you had to see half his face. They always do that. Spider-Man did that. Go ahead, Clint.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, two things. One, you know, you're right about Mandalorian. It was designed like the old serials, the old cowboy shows.
Lone
and
Wolf
stuff.
and Cub.
It's supposed to be like that. And that's why it's so enjoyable, and it's so good. It's like every week there's a different thing happening instead of, it's still a long story, but there's a small story in every episode. I feel like the reason they can get away with doing such an entertaining show on The Mandalorian is it's a newer character. So it's like they don't have all of the rules that they got to worry about. I really believe that canon, having such an old story, you have to lead up to something that was written, 35, 40 years ago. And I think it's difficult to do that with, and then you're like, well, crap, if I do it this way, this doesn't work. And I think it's difficult to write like that. It's really fascinating when I see some of the weird things they do to make everything make sense. And again, you have these weird loopholes like what Leia said about, you worked with my father. Well, why the hell didn't you don't remember me? Like,
The cool part though is that, and I was
but-
defending that plot
Yeah.
hole, Clint. Like I was defending that to Barry, and but the cool part is like she never physically meets Obi-Wan in A New Hope.
Yeah.
Like I think she sees him gets cut down, but that's it.
Well, what I was thinking about that scene with Darth Vader and Obi-Wan when he cuts his helmet. I really loved. I agree with you when his voice was switching back and forth. I really wanted them to do that. I think that's like I've thought about it, like with Respeecher, the technology they use to for in the credits it says voiced by James Earl Jones. But later on, it also says Respeecher, and I did a video on that on my channel where like you can make a voice profile, and it's fascinating to me. Like on the last Mandalorian season, they had Luke's voice, but it wasn't Mark Hamill doing it. It was some other actor talking, and they transform his voice into Luke. And and I wondered, oh yeah, they're giving credit to James Earl Jones, but is Hayden Christensen doing James Earl Jones's parts? And I was wondering if they were flipping it, and if they were going to mix the two, the possibilities of what they could do with that. So hearing them switch back and forth, I don't know if they did that. I think probably not. They probably had somebody else with more of a epic tear this ship apart until you found those plans, and then like slip him through Respeecher and make him sound awesome. I don't know if Hayden Christensen was involved in that, but the thing, I didn't mean to go on that rant about Respeecher. It's just fascinating. Being a recording engineer, that technology is fascinating to me. The thing I really liked about that scene, though, is that there's a point where Obi-Wan is looking at him in a little bit of disgust, but mostly pity. And I don't think it's just because he struck down his friend and split his head open, but it's just seeing it what he's become. And there's a part where he's like, "I did this to myself." He tells him, "You didn't do this to me. I did this to myself." And
oh man, that pause. Sorry, dude, but the pause he says, and he just looks. And
yeah,
that delivery is brilliant.
And the stare, and I was trying to figure out if it was like, is this happening because you're looking at me with pity and I'm too proud and angry to don't pity me? But I also, part of me kind of got the sense that he was letting him off of the hook. Like he could see the hurt in Obi-Wan's eyes and kind of was giving him a pass, but like, I did this to myself. You didn't do you like don't feel, because he's in a vulnerable state. He was just like, don't feel sorry for me and don't feel guilty. This was my path that I chose. And I thought that was cool. And part of me thought that might be why he didn't kill him, because his basically almost child or little brother, who he just chopped down to ribbons, is now letting me off the hook. He's got years of guilt and for letting him go down this path, and everything else, he's riddled with guilt. And I just thought it was cool, the idea that like now Obi-Wan gets to walk away from this and not have the guilt on his shoulders that he let Darth Vader become Darth Vader. Darth Vader let him off the hook and said, "Okay, dude, this wasn't on you. This is all me." So I liked that aspect about this a lot. Anyway, that's my spiel.
Yeah, there was there were some really great moments in the series, like, and I did enjoy the emotional impact of that last lightsaber battle. It's just technically, like, I found the pacing, it just was kind of boring, and I technically I wasn't enjoying it as much, and it kind of took me out. And Zach over at Stay Lifted, he said that it's the Picard of Star Trek. That's what he called it. And that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Edward, wake up. Your turn.
I think calling it a Picard of Star Trek is a bit harsh. I'm gonna be honest.
Picard, though, have you?
I've watched a bit of it, and I don't want to watch any more of it. I think that says.
If you watch Star Trek: The Next Generation and were attached to that character, and then watch Picard, you would understand the comparison, I'm sure.
It has good parts, but there's a lot of space in between those parts. That's a weird show, man. Because I really loved it and wanted to love it, but also didn't love it. It's very confusing. It's emotionally draining to think about it.
I think, like, the best episode of that series was the last one, right? where like him and Q are saying goodbye and stuff. It's like tear jerking. And like there was one look that Leia gave Obi-Wan in that last episode, and you know, my heart swelled up. It's like, yeah, okay, I can see, but it just I think it just needed to be better, man. It deserved to be better, you know. And hopefully the series moving forward, they will learn from like what they've done right and what they've done wrong, and they'll just make them better. That's all.
There was some weird things though where they're like, get her a ladder, and you know, get her a ladder, and I'm like, oh come on, she's gonna go, you're gonna let her fix the thing. And then I'm thinking, well, Anakin did make droids with his hands.
Exactly what I thought.
And he did fly pod racers. Okay. And then there was a weird part where Obi-Wan in the desert, I don't remember verbatim what he said, but he was just basically said, you can't trust everybody, Leia, and like just snapped at her. And I'm like, out of nowhere, I was like, whoa, dude, that was really harsh.
Yeah.
And then another one that got me was I forgot the characters played by O'Shea Jackson, Ice Cube's son.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, he basically is like, dude, you're gonna get us all killed. And he just said, yes, but we need to do this. And he goes, okay, I'll go wherever you want, anything you need, we'll do it. And it's like it was like an instant flip. And I felt like whoever edited the show edited out a long rant and conversation down to because it went from like, dude, you're gonna get us all killed to okay, I'll do whatever you want. And it was really weird. But
go ahead.
I was just going to say, going back to camera and shaky cam, there's a weird style that I'm seeing in different things. They had it in Army of the Dead. Zack Snyder did it on his handheld cam, but it almost looks like there's Vaseline smudged all over the lens, and they had it when Reva was running around in the dark, and it's like a weird smudgy
the depth of field.
It's stupid. It looks like garbage. It's like it just looks like you have a dirty lens.
No, it's post-production depth of field filter. That's what it is.
Yeah, it looks terrible. I don't understand why anybody would do that. It's just because like, hey, we don't want to spend money on the surroundings, so we're just going to make it all foggy and like I'm roaming around in the dark, and it's really dumb.
I talked about those dark scenes with James before, and I have a problem with all of these like scenes that are filmed that supposedly take place at night in the Star Wars TV shows. I think they all look like crap because you can't see what's going on. You literally cannot. And my brother brought up a good point. My brother was like, I think they should have killed off Reva. I think she should have died. I think she should have died, and I agree with Freddie. I wrote like, it doesn't make sense that she carries on after that. There's no point to her. Like, what was that whole scene? Because to me, that scene almost ruins the episode for me, where it kept on flitting between what Reva was doing with Luke and the lightsaber battle, and I just kept on thinking, I just want to see the lightsaber battle.
Yeah.
I don't care about, and I know this sounds bad because I actually think Moses Ingram is brilliant. There's that there are some scenes with her that are really impactful. When you find out her whole backstory, you're like, oh yeah, like I get this. But I really do think like her arc should have ended, but they want to bring her back, so that's why they're doing that.
Plot device to keep her around because they invested in this character. I do want to go back.
I don't understand why she wants to kill Luke. That's what I think.
I want to lead into that. I've got a couple things, and I knew you were going there. To go bounce off what Clint was saying about Obi-Wan's dialogue in some parts. Yeah, a lot of it seemed to me it was out of character for him. And then when he would deliver a line that seemed like Obi-Wan that we've seen in the 3 previous films and A New Hope briefly, it was like, okay, there's Obi-Wan, you know. But some of the writing just seemed out of character for him. And yeah, why did she want to kill Luke if she already told Obi-Wan that she was after Vader? Like, what was the point of going to get Luke to kill him? Like, I was like, wait, is this happening? What was her motivation? Did I miss it? I rewound it. I did not miss it. You know, maybe it was to have that emotional outburst at the end, like to have that emotional moment, but that didn't make sense to me. And maybe I missed this, and Clint, I've been wanting to ask you this question. When Obi-Wan and Reva first met, right, and then the squad in the Rebels base, and then she says, yeah, I'm going after Darth Vader or whatever. I was a youngling. they capture him, and then she just leaves him with 2 stormtroopers, and then she shuts the door, and then Darth Vader's coming. Why would she do that? Like, they wasn't explained. Did she do it so he could escape, or I don't? Because it just seemed like, all right, Vader's coming. The whole point was to get Obi-Wan, and then all of a sudden, here you go off with 2 stormtroopers that can't hit anything in 5 feet in front of them, and then we'll just leave you behind a closed blast door, and here I'll go meet Vader.
Yeah, I didn't even remember that part. Like, I remember that part, but I didn't even notice. Like, hey, you let this badass go in a room with 2 stormtroopers. No, he could have just Jedi mind tricked him. He didn't even need to fight him. You know what I mean? Like,
and she said he's secured. He's not secured. Like,
maybe she just thought he was locked in a there's no way out of there. He's locked.
I think she did it. She did it to let him get away.
You think so?
I think that's I think that's what they were trying to imply. I think a lot was cut out of this, actually.
That's the thing, is like, that's why I rewound it, because like, did I miss something? Did I miss like a plot development? It's just like, okay, go over there. Not like they didn't agree they were working together. They didn't do anything. It was just like, I don't know. Hello, Retro Nerd Girl. Thanks for joining.
Hello. And I do agree with you here. I think Reva wanted to kill someone that could have meant something to Vader, but Vader didn't know. He doesn't know about Luke, so it makes no sense unless she tells him. Like, I thought that was what she was going to try and do. She was going to try and tell Vader about his. I have information about you got kids, mate. Kind of thing. But no, she very first thing. Also, she must have a massive hole in her. Like, do lightsabers not kill people anymore when you get stabbed by them? So many people are like, you're fine.
It's cauterized.
Yeah, it's cauterized.
Yeah. So I was a bit like, well, all right. I mean, I have to. That was my biggest problem with the series, was that bit when I was like, Reva shouldn't be alive. Like, she failed miserably. Like, she was like humiliated in that lightsaber battle, and everyone was like, "Oh, I can't believe what they've done to the Grand Inquisitor, killing him off." I was like, "Dude's not dead." Like, have you not watched the? Like, they're not going to make, what was the show he was in? He was in Star Wars Rebels.
Yep.
Yeah, they're not going to make that non-canon. You know. He's still around. He might have a different shaped head, but he's still around.
Also, in the comics, Darth Vader chops all their limbs off in training. He gets put in charge of training the Inquisitors. There's like scenes where they're like arms laying around, and they're like, "What? They need to learn loss." That's and I'm like, that's hilarious. I'm just gonna chop. Oh yeah, whoom. Now you get a robot arm. Maybe you're going to think better the next time. You're going to be smarter the next time. That's really hilarious. And also, I was just thinking, if he's like, hey, I could say that Luke is his son. I'm like, I have your son. Why wouldn't he just do that with Leia? Why didn't Reva just do that with Leia? She already had Leia in custody. So if she was going to pull, did she even know that Leia was
This is okay. I was thinking about this. I was like, why did she kidnap Leia? Because what was the thing that made her realize that that there was a connection between Obi-Wan and Leia? Because she doesn't know. But this is I literally started thinking about this the other day when again I was talking to Freddie about it, and I was like, why did she kidnap Leia? What? How was she so sure that Obi-Wan was going to try and find her?
See,
and also, why was she so desperate to kill Obi-Wan? If the whole does she just hate all Jedi? Was that it? She saw the Jedi as being all evil.
She wanted to kill Obi-Wan because Vader wanted him so bad, and she wanted to prove her usefulness to Vader.
She's like she kind of just. She just lucks into everything. Like her plan originally doesn't make any sense Because how does she know that Leia is that he'll come and take Leia? He sends the Red Hot Chili. He sends the Red Hot Chili Peppers bassist of all people to go and kidnap Leia. In what is that kidnap scene was pretty bad. Like, how could you not catch a kid? Like, it's
I know.
It's
Let me just say
going through their legs.
Your question reinforces my theory that they just crammed in Leia in like a later draft from what they had in the movie.
I do wonder whether they did. They were like, how are we going to get, like, how is anyone going to find Obi-Wan? But also, I thought this from the beginning when like from back when Revenge of the Sith came out, I was like, it's so stupid of Obi-Wan to send Luke to literally the only like relatives that Anakin has, like literally Anakin's mum. Didn't Anakin's mum like marry Owen? Wasn't that the whole thing? It's like Owen and Anakin's mum had a thing, and
I don't even know this.
I think
that was
that's
fan
it.
fiction.
Was that fan fiction? Because I think that was, but why Owen like literally sends him to the fucking planet where Anakin's born, and it's like, and it just stays there. And I was always a bit like, I suppose it's like, the first place, it's like the last place he'll look is Tatooine. It's like, it doesn't make any sense.
Big galaxy. I like this quote.
Dude, I saw some YouTuber took that chase scene and put it in fast motion and put Yakety Sax, the Benny Hill music, over it, and it was super funny. And then when they bump into the tree vine, it's like it had all those silly Benny Hill sounds. It was really funny, and it made that show look really stupid. It was like it was really bad.
It's
can't
a shame
wait till...
because it's small things. It's small things, but it actually does add up.
That was like one of the opening scenes, that chase sequence. It's not a small thing.
Dude, I'm waiting for the Adventures of Lola and Leia sequel, like spin-off that we're gonna get.
The Adventures of Leia and the little robot from Batteries Not Included.
Yeah, Leia and Lola, only on Disney Plus.
Also, I didn't quite understand. Like, so she puts a tracking device on Lola that also turns the robot evil, right? Is that what she did?
That's a restraint bolt. That's pretty common with all droids.
Okay, all right.
Better than self-stealing stem bolts. There's a nice joke for you Trek fans.
Yeah, you see it on Chopper and even R2 and all of them. They have, once they get that bolt off, then all of a sudden R2 is able to deliver the message of Obi-Wan.
We're talking about the new Obi-Wan series, Eric Robin. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. The Disney Plus Obi-Wan.
I think he's asking what part of the show we're talking about, but the whole show.
We're all over the place. We're all over.
We're just kind of picking up like there are plot holes everywhere in this show, I have to say, and you can. I do wonder what the original, because they rewrote extensively, didn't they? They literally
they
stopped production. Yeah, and the more I think about it, like when I was watching it at the time, I was like, oh, it kind of makes sense. Hi, Zach. It kind of makes sense to have Leia in this because she obviously knew who Obi-Wan was, but then when you go back and watch the movie, she just says, oh, he fought with my father.
Mm-hmm.
in the which, if you watch the prequels, isn't even true. Like they didn't fight together.
Well, no, they fought in the Phantom Menace.
Did they?
Yeah, on Alderaan. Like when they're running through the halls before they got separated. Like it was, like Obi-Wan and Jimmy Smits to each other.
Okay, all right.
I don't even know.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's literally the dad and everything. He's the dad. He's the dad. I always remember him from Dexter being like the one that he's like, oh, Dexter, you should kill more people.
Yeah.
It's like, but I think the moments I enjoyed the most were the moments between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, and they were very few and far between. Although the first like fire thing I thought was a bit janky as well. It's like, how can you not just walk around the line of fire that you clearly made? Like, it wasn't that big.
Why didn't that one rebel that was pretending to be working for the Empire, the double agent, why did she shoot? Why didn't she shoot Vader instead of like shooting like one of the goons? You know, like that would have like he's standing right at the front, not one of the goons behind Vader, but she decides to target practice with one of the goons instead of Vader. Like when I saw that, it was like, oh wow, I didn't understand.
Yeah,
I just looked it up. Uncle Owen is technically the stepbrother of Luke's father, Anakin Skywalker. So his mom was married before, or his mom was married to a guy who already had a kid, and that's Uncle Owen. So it's like the step uncle of Luke.
Okay, so they are kind of related,
but not by blood. And he's just like, okay, yeah, he knew Anakin, and Anakin. I guess Uncle Owen knows what Anakin. Knows what Anakin became. But I wonder if Anakin would think that, hey, my stepbrother has my kid. That's weird. But I will say that Uncle Owen is a freaking badass in this show. Like, I thought he was really cool. Like, after seeing that one episode where Reva goes up to him and he just stands his ground, I was like, dude, I think I'd like to see a show about moisture farmers kicking asses and the crazy battles. Because for him to act like that, he must be an ass kicker. Like, man, I don't know if he's beating up sand people or Jawas or what, but something's up with that guy.
Except until he wanted to run away from Reva, and then his wife was like, "No, we're sticking around and we're fighting."
They should call the show Blue Harvest. That'd be a good name for the show, Blue Harvest. Go back to the beginning.
At least we didn't get some blue milk drinking from the titty this time,
dude.
People really love complaining about that, don't they?
I just think it's funny. I'll be right back.
I thought that scene was funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate stuff like that.
Yeah, like Star Wars is kind of completely like hokey, really. I mean, if you've watched the first one, it's like it's just really goofy, and the whole thing was based off Flash Gordon, and you can really tell when you rewatch the original film. Luke Skywalker is annoying in the first movie. He's actually quite an annoying lead. And like some of the dialogue is pants, is genuinely bad in that first movie. But you know, people that I agree with you. I think they were writing themselves with Obi-Wan Kenobi into a hole and desperately trying to get themselves out of it, and then just ended up digging lots of little holes so they could end up getting out of the bigger hole that was, you know, when they meet when Kenobi and Darth Vader meet in A New Hope, it's very clear that they're talking about, you know, the battle in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah,
it's like, it's very clear.
Well, they weren't even talking about that, because Revenge of the Sith wasn't even a thought at that point. You know what I mean? Like, well, maybe it was, but like, so they were just talking. Like, hey, this is just a thing that we're gonna say in a script and we have this past. You know what I mean? Like George Lucas had like outlined. I don't even know how far, how thoroughly he had written all of the books, but he picked the one he did just because he was like, I think this will be the most complete story. If I'm just gonna get one shot, I'll start it right here in the middle, and so like he wasn't thinking about movies that were going to come out 20 years later. Like, he was just like, okay, this is part of his story. So it's hilarious. Like, people will start like really going over everything with a fine-tooth comb, and well, that doesn't line up with this in the prequels. I'm like, dude, the prequels, they really don't matter. I mean, they matter, but I mean, like, if you're comparing this thing to the original Star Wars, and then you're comparing it to the prequels, and of course it's going to be hard to match up. Like, these are like, they start in the middle and they're writing out, and I don't know, it's funny to me. It's funny to me how worked up people get about it. Now, it does bother me though, trying to figure out why Reva was going after Princess Leia. I'm gonna be thinking about it nonstop for days until I can come up with a good
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go
explanation.
Watch the first episode again to see if it was like a throwaway dialogue or something. I think
it was.
Yeah, I think with me, it's no matter how much I love a property or the fandom, like how much I love Star Wars or Star Trek or Marvel or whatever, if the execution of the final product is half-baked, then I'm just not enjoying it. I can't look past that because I love the property so much, Like it's got to be fully developed for me because especially when you wait so long for like the Obi-Wan series or movie, whatever it was supposed to be, we've waited such a long time, It was like when Falcon and the Winter Soldier came out, that was like, but if it was Captain America 4, that would have been a pretty badass movie, and then they would have done a lot better with more reshoots because of the COVID and everything. I don't know. I don't want to, like, there's some really good parts about it, but at the end of the day, it didn't hold my interest. It was like when I was trying to watch Picard, it's like, oh, there's still 30 minutes left of this, It's like, move on to the plot.
Yeah. I feel like this far in, though, everything is basically just filling in the gaps because they had the skeleton, essentially what the original Star Wars was, and it was pretty screwed up, and George Lucas's wife edited it into a fine film, and then they do some soap opera adjustments where like, hey, if we make him his father, that'll be awesome. It'll blow everybody away. And they do things like that at the last minute to make it cool. And it worked. They turned it into a soap opera, space soap opera. And now anything you do, you're like, okay, we're going to bring Palpatine back. And it was actually a clone the whole time. And everybody's like, get the fuck out of here. Sorry for the cursing. But yeah, we're like, get out of here with that crap. And it's like, what giant twists can we do now? You can't really do anything. We just basically need you to fill in the gaps, give us all the canon and explain everything. So that's kind of what everything is. It's like, okay, where does the blue milk come from? That's basically where we're at now.
I really think they should have done with the Palpatine thing. They should have been like, my name is so not Palpatine, but I am Palpatine's evil cousin. It's like evil twin. It's like so it's the telenovela version. It's like that'd be brilliant.
His Spanish. I am El Palpatine.
El Palpatine. El
Palpatino.
You've been watching The Boys, Clint?
Yeah, I haven't seen the latest episode. I heard a little tad bit of you guys earlier and learned that there's going to be some kind of termite or whatever that guy is seen. There's going to be some kind of thing like that happens in the first episode happening in this thing. I was like, oh, there's a spoiler. I got to turn it off. I'm excited to see it. There's not been a minute of The Boys that has not just made me have a good time or laugh or smirk at their poking fun at society. It doesn't matter what you're a part of. These guys are happy to poke fun and make fun of it, and I think it's great. I think
really
it's great.
It up this season too, eh?
Like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm really digging it, really enjoying it. Like Spooky won't watch it. It's not her thing, but when Homelander, the episode before last, where he's like, "It's safe to go outside. It's it's perfectly safe." That speech he did for the cameras. I said, "You have to watch this part." What's that remind you of? It was like a really great dig at politics last year.
Absolutely, and then when he gets brave, or when he finally has had it, and he was like, "Screw this, I'm Homelander. I'll do whatever the hell I want," and he just kind of says, "Screw it." Then when they're
Edward
like,
hasn't watched it, by the way, though.
Okay, I didn't reveal much, but I thought it was funny that they're like, "Hey, your speech tested well with middle-aged white men," which is hilarious
in the Rust Belt.
Yeah, in the Rust Belt, which is like which is like poking fun at like the maybe like the Jordan Peterson fans or something. You know what I mean? Just average middle-aged white guys that are like, oh, why am I the villain? I'm oppressed. Anyway, I thought it was great. The whole thing. That's the deal that I love about this show is
you're talking about my favorite man, Jordan Peterson.
The funny thing about this show is that they poke fun of those that audience. They also poke fun at BLM and virtue signaling and like corporations and religion and just they don't just pick and choose like, oh, I'm taking my stance. They find the funny thing, the ridiculous, because there's a ridiculous side to I don't care what side of the fence you are politically or what. There is a funny, ridiculous part of everything. And these guys
from the comics, Garth Ennis, his writing, yeah.
And these guys find it, and I need to go back and read some of those comics because if that's what those comics are like, I need some of that in my life because I'm really, really enjoying the show.
Definitely read all 78 issues and the spin-offs as well. Yeah.
Did they make fun of the Kendall Jenner Pepsi ad?
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, they do. They do
was it A-Train?
It was A-Train. Yeah.
Yeah, A-Train. Yeah, I did see that. I thought that was funny. Yeah. Jordan Peterson doesn't turn up in it, does he?
No. I was just using that as the middle-aged white guy who feels like he's being picked on. That's the Jordan Peterson crowd. That's like, oh, these guys work hard and blah blah blah, and I could find good things and bad things and everything, and I appreciate that these guys do that instead of most people are so. It's like when you get into politics and these sensitive issues, most people are so invested in their team that they're too close-minded because like I'm on this team and I can't make fun of it. I have to, like, if you disagree with me, you're the enemy. And to me, that's a really ignorant way to live. And
it's kind of like fandoms too, though.
It really is.
It
it really is. And I think it's sad because we can all learn something, but you got to listen to other people. And when you just put up blinders and cover your ears when the bad man talks and says things you don't want to hear, I think you miss out. And I think that these guys, they soak all of it up and they make fun of everybody. And I'm like, that's how it should be. Make fun of my people, make fun of their people, make fun of everybody, because we all need a good laugh. Everybody takes a lot of things too seriously. Let's laugh it up. And if you want to laugh it up, watch The Boys. That show is fantastic.
Laugh it up.
You know what Obi-Wan needed?
What?
A giant urethra scene?
Mephisto.
Absolutely.
Who's gonna be in Doctor Strange 2?
When are you gonna make another song, Clint?
I need to do that.
Do it in like 2 weeks and I can edit it.
Because we can't have demons in China.
Well, I think on that bombshell, we've talked about everything. And that I need to get to bed, guys. This has been a pleasure doing this again.
One urethra joke and now you're hitting the hay? Come on, man.
You keep on cutting out on my headphones, so I couldn't actually hear what you were saying, what the joke was. I just saw Mephisto. I think it's whenever like one of those clips come in.
Yeah, for you that's weird. Like they don't play when I put them up sometimes for you.
Yeah, it's weird.
Wow.
Yeah, it cut out then as well. It was weird. Wow. Oh, I can't wait for Loki season 2.
Me too. I was just talking about how I'll say how blessed we are with all of the material and all the shows and all the movies that are coming out, like after so long of being in the apocalypse. And I was saying how I feel like movie studios and things weren't releasing the good stuff in theaters because they didn't want to lose money. And now we're getting all these kick-ass movies that are starting to come out and $1 billion movies all over again. Doctor Strange is almost at $1 billion. Top Gun's almost at $1 billion. All the shows are. I can't even keep up with all the damn shows. I watched Peaky Blinders, The Boys, Miss Marvel, Obi-Wan. It's like, and then all these other docu-series and everything coming out. It's like this is a really good time to be addicted to visual content. So don't call it content. So anyway, I'm stoked. I'm stoked you guys had me back because I miss you guys. Miss hanging out with you guys on Fridays.
We couldn't do a live stream without you, Clint. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
it wouldn't be small screen live, right?
Hell
be just small. It'll be small screen lie without the DE.
You lie!
Dude, that's a good series to do. Small screen lies and just put out a bunch of complete BS. Just completely lie about everything. That'd be great.
And the beginning of it would be just tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies.
And then we get a copyright strike.
Yeah.
Right
Ezra Miller back for Flash 2.
Yeah.
What?
Nicolas Cage is playing Mephisto.
Yeah, Clint Howard. Clint Howard is playing
God.
Playing Mitzelplick. Go ahead.
There you go. I was gonna say Nicolas Cage to play Superman. That's like the big Warner Bros. Warner Discovery move. Like let's do it. Let's get Nick Cage to play Superman. Yeah. Why not?
Is this coming out yet? When's this come out?
It's
Argyle
coming out next year, I think. It's terrible hair, isn't it? He looks awful. Dude. So somehow they've managed to make Henry Cavill look ugly. I didn't think it was possible.
I thought that was Chet.
No, it's Henry Cavill.
That's
weird
like
science.
Behind the scenes photo, though, right?
Maybe, but it's definitely the hair that they're going for. It's like he's got a wig. It's really weird. Hey, family.
Yeah, we got anyway. It's been a while. Let's play that for Curtis.
Yeah.
Family.
Bat first. I saw Clint that you watched Elvis the other day.
I sure did, man. I had a great time. I was a little sketchy going in. I didn't think I was going to like it. Oh, I thought I was going to enjoy it, but I thought.
Can we save Elvis for the podcast? Have you two talk about Elvis?
Yeah, we could totally do that. I'm actually in the middle of editing a review Curtis and I did that I'll have out soon on my channel.
Nice.
Yeah.
All I'm gonna say is that if you give an Oscar to someone for playing a musician in a biopic, why the fuck do you give it to what's his name, Bohemian Rhapsody guy, Rami Malek for badly Rami Malek for badly lip syncing when Austin Butler is just incredible.
Yeah, but Elvis wasn't out at the same time as Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, but that movie should have never got any Oscars.
You can't blame the bad editing. It was just the bad editing.
Well, it's not just the bad editing.
I want to invite you, Edward, to stay up for an hour and a half, and we're doing the King versus Queen on my channel. Clint Likes Everything. We're gonna have we're doing we're doing a movie battle, Bohemian Rhapsody versus the Elvis movie, to determine who is the champion of biopics, rock and roll.
I can tell you the answer right now. It's Elvis. It's no contest.
You're fired.
We have an unorthodox scoring system. It's not actually fair. The winners aren't usually the best movie. It's more about fun. But yeah, dude. Like, I'll say Austin Butler. I saw your tweet. I think it was a tweet that you said he deserves an Academy Award for that. I had my hesitations about him because his face is long and it looks like he's a good-looking man, but it's the same way like Jennifer Garner is a beautiful woman who has long, almost Puma-like features that I wouldn't cast her to play Marilyn Monroe. Same, I didn't think this guy was right for Elvis face structure wise.
That's what I got from the trailer.
Yeah,
Oh, he is so right for it, though.
But he is so good that it takes that right out of your brain. When you're watching it, you forget. And there's, especially when he gets middle-aged Elvis, like after the comeback special, and when you hide his facial structure behind the lamb chops and the helmet hair, then you really start loving it. I mean, the whole movie was fantastic. But that's let's save it for the podcast. Well, I just
put the cookie down now.
Let's save it for the podcast.
Yeah. Speaking of the podcast, July 1st, a week today, it will be released on all your podcast platforms. And we will also have some snippets from the podcast cut into videos, and it'll be up on the YouTube channel.
I do not envy being James.
What is the podcast called if I look on my podcast app and go searching for the podcast?
The Weekly Screen.
The Weekly Screen?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. We'll get you to do some links for it, Clint. Well,
you're listening to The Weekly Screen.
Yeah. Yeah,
I've been
go working on
Friday.
Working on a script for Clint to record for that stuff and for other stuff.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Yes. Right. We good?
We're good.
What was that one?
We're good. You're listening to the Screen.
That's terrifying. Whatever that was.
Sexual advances.
That's terrifying.
I still have these. All right.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. It's good to see everyone
again. Thanks, guys.
Love you guys. Yeah. See everybody soon.
Bye.
Are we signing off now?
It's been a long road